My question is fiscal. With 450 million FEMA dollars being reallocated to open Alligator Alcatraz and 600 million taxpayer FEMA dollars being used to now open more concentration camps and ICE burning through $8.4 million a day to illegally detain people, how much does it cost for fascism? How much do the taxpayers have to pay for a fascist country?
Americans went to the polls in November, and they had a choice between a Democratic candidate that had an open border, no enforcement, fentanyl, drugs, human trafficking. And they had a choice between that and a candidate that said, close the border, get illegal immigrants out of our country, stop the fentanyl, stop the human trafficking, stop the drugs, stop the crime, stop the violence. That's what Americans voted for. Americans voted for a border that is secure. And I support the president enforcing our immigration laws.
I have read a dozen or so books on authoritarianism and fascism. You said in Seward that you were not a fascist. Your complicity says otherwise. Have you ever spoken out against this administration and its Project 2025, which is a fascist machine?
Fascists don't hold town halls with open question and answer series.
Family Nebraska's Republican representative Mike Flood has been trending on all social media platforms over the last 24 hours in a town hall that was held in Nebraska in August 4th, 2025. A lot of Nebraskans, about 700 people, were booing him as he was addressing them in a town hall. Nebraskans were not happy by Mike Flood trying to defend the beautiful, the big beautiful bid, and he was heckled by Nebraskans. He was booed, and chants was saying that tax the rich people. And people were asking him, why did they cut foodstuffs? And he made people very, very angry when he said we do not have unlimited money in the US. Nebraskans questions Trump tax and spending bill, which will add over $4 trillion in national debt, And this has come at a time when Americans are very, very mad with the government because most of their policies, most of Trump's policies are not sitting well with its citizens. Most people are crying over the high cost of living and the cuts in Medicare and Medicaid, and even the food support. So guys, I want you to watch this video. Once the video is done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Let's watch this video together, family.
There's a saying that silence is complicity. Your silence tells us that you have no problem with the January 6th attack on the Capitol, the pardoning of all those involved, the big lie about the 2020 election with absolutely no evidence. These are all markers. These are markers of fascism. I have read a dozen or so books on authoritarianism and fascism. You said in Seward that you were not a fascist. Your complicity says otherwise. Have you ever spoken out against this administration and its Project 2025, which is a fascist machine? Have you ever spoken out? There are a number of people, it's been reported many times in the news that there are a number of our colleagues, Republican colleagues, who do not like this man and they speak against him behind closed doors in private. Maybe you're one of them. There is a thing, profiles encourage. Why don't any of you, because you know better, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
Sir, I want to be very clear with you. Give me a chance to answer his question, I'd be happy to. Fascists don't hold town halls with open question and answer series.
Just because you're holding a microphone in a public forum doesn't mean you're being transparent. And when you duck questions about extremism while backing policies straight out of Project 2025, people are right to question who you're really working for. And it doesn't look like you're working for them.
I have to take a moment to laugh at the fact that it was a guy named Mike Flood who was the first to walk into a town hall in Nebraska to defend Trump's bill.
From where I sit, there's been a lot of misinformation out there about the bill.
Flood indeed. You know, he would have had a warning he was going to walk into a disaster, but NWS cut that program because of Doge. You know what this guy said when one of his constituents asked why they cut food stamps?
We do not have unlimited money in the United States.
I find it absolutely fucking wild he can say this down his nose to a room full of struggling voters, but he couldn't say it to the billionaires who just inhaled $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, which added $3.4 trillion to our national debt after Mike Flood helped delete $1.1 trillion in spending on Medicare and food stamps. Programs designed to support those same voters who are in Nebraska surviving on $40,000 a year. You know what actually reminds me of what Mike's friend said over in Iowa defending her own vote?
Well, we all are going to die.
Please understand, this brazen movie villain donkey shit behavior is the product of partisan purity culture. They've lived in their MAGA echo chamber so long they think they're invincible, even as their constituents scream in their face that they are destroying the country we love. And I am telling you now, it is going to cost them everything. Now, I don't mean every voter, because 28% of Americans would feed themselves to a great white if it meant protecting the orange walrus. No, I'm speaking to the 72%. The nearly 3/4 of Americans who refuse to believe it's raining just because Trump's Qatari jet flew over them and emptied its septic tank on their head. No, the rest of us, we see what's happening. We know why it's happening. And those smug assholes, when the time comes, will be held accountable.
Do you think that people who are 28 years old that can work and refuse to work should get free health care? I don't think that a majority of Nebraskans agree with you.
How much does it cost for fascism? How much do the taxpayers have to pay for a fascist country?
Next slide, please. If you are able to work and you are able-bodied, you have to work. If you choose not to work, you do not get free health care. You do not get free health care. When you have an additional $700 million coming into the state of Nebraska for Nebraska hospitals.
There are a number of our colleagues, Republican colleagues, who do not like this man and they speak against him behind closed doors.
One of the ways to bring down our commercial private payer insurance is to not have as many people on Medicaid. Money does not fall out of the sky. It does not grow on trees. It comes from all of you. I wish there was a world we could live in where everything came from the government and it was free. But that will never, ever, ever happen.
Why are you covering up the Epstein files?
I support Jamie Comer, who is the House's Oversight Committee Chairman, subpoenaing Ms. Maxwell later this month to come testify in Washington. I am for the release of those records.
I implore you to be quiet. Remember, Mike's coming up for a re-election, and we'd really like to know what his responses are.
There's a lot of people here that waited in line that want to hear the answers.
Say hello to Mike Flood, representative from Nebraska. Mr. Flood was loudly booed at a town hall last night when he was trying to defend Trump policies, which are going to take a large amount of money from his constituents for no goddamn reason. And so if you want to know why Mr. Flood would do that, and he said, hey, when I go to Congress, I will protect you, I will take care of you, everything will be great, take a look at this, okay? Look at how much money he is getting from PAC contributions and large donor contributions. He gets 1.53, I believe, % of his donations from small individual donors like you and me. He is fully funded by the oligarchy. And so when you vote for people like this, and a lot of red representatives are, and there are some blue, that's what you get. You get a representative of the oligarchy, you get a representative of the billionaires. So when you are getting ready to vote in your next election, go into opensecrets.org. You know, the right wing will tell you that it's a communist site and you can't trust it because those people are paid by the oligarchs to trash it. But go in there and see exactly how much of the funding for these representatives comes from PAC and large donors. Check those out, because if that's the case, they're bought and paid for by the oligarchy. They will not vote for you. They will not vote for any legislation that's going to help you. But they will throw out a bunch of acronyms and they will make you afraid of going anywhere else. That's their job. So go look at that and see who they're funded by. If they're bought and paid for by these large organizations, do not vote for them. Just don't, because you'll never get what you need. Things will only get worse.
Watch this MAGA Republican representative get booed at his own town hall in his own district.
Why did you cut SNAP and healthcare research?
We do not have unlimited money in the United States.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the entire town hall was for Representative Mike Flood, who represents Nebraska's 1st congressional district. He won like 60% of the vote in 2024, so this is not a liberal area, and he's still getting booed. I also just find his excuse here for voting to cut Medicare, Medicaid, food assistance, and more to be pretty pathetic. He says we don't have unlimited money in the United States. I wish he held that same energy when it came to giving tax cuts to billionaires or giving Elon Musk another government contract. But man, it's always a good day when a Republican rep gets booed at their own town hall.
Did you guys see the clips of the town hall in Lincoln, Nebraska with Representative Mike Flood? Because a Republican got on the mic and said, what are the plans to pay down the debt without the younger generations, like our grandchildren, having to foot the bill? He didn't have an answer, but the crowd erupted into a chant. A Republican crowd, fully Republican crowd, erupted into a tax the rich chant. Oh my God. What? Never in my life. Never. I could almost cry. I was so, it was music to my ears. Might be a little late, but I'm so glad we're getting here. It just made my socialist heart that often toes the line of becoming a full-blown communist every day so happy.
Tonight, August 4th, 2025, Mike Flood, CD1 in Omaha, Nebraska, decided to host a town hall, which I commend him for that. But this guy right here, he decided to host a town hall. It did not go well. Did not go well. I want to show you guys a few clips of what happened.
There's a saying that silence is complicity. Your silence tells us that you have no problem with the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
Yep.
The pardoning of all those involved, the big lie about the 2020 election with absolutely no evidence.
Zero evidence, folks.
These are markers of fascism. I have read a dozen or so books on authoritarianism and fascism. You said in Seward that you were not a fascist. Your complicity says otherwise. Have you ever spoken out against this administration and its Project 2025, which is a fascist machine? Have you ever spoken out?
Nope.
There are a number of people, it's been reported many times in the news that there are a number of our colleagues, Republican colleagues, who do not like this man and they speak against him behind closed doors in private. Maybe you're one of them. There is a thing, profiles encourage. Why don't any of you, because you know better, what
They
is
do.
wrong
They do know
with
better.
you? What is
They
wrong
choose
with you?
not to.
Sir, I want to be very clear with you. Give me a chance to answer his question, I'd be happy to.
What you got, Mike? Doesn't sound like they're happy with you, pal. Does not sound like they're happy with you.
Fascists don't hold town halls with open question and answer series.
That's your line? That's your line, bro? Come on, man.
And
Come on.
I will tell you this. I support law enforcement.
No, you don't.
And what happened on January 6, 2021 was not right, and I'm on the record saying so.
If you did, you would have spoke out against the party.
But I support law enforcement. I have prided myself on supporting law enforcement since I began as a member of the Judiciary Committee in 2005, and we started working on child sexual assault. We started working on the sex offender registry. We started working on all of these different DWI laws to make our streets safer. I believe in law enforcement.
No,
I
he
believe
doesn't.
in the rule of law.
No, he doesn't.
I believe in the rule of law.
No, he doesn't.
It matters to me.
Nope.
I support Israel. I support Israel.
Next question. Next question. How do you intend to ensure the accuracy of reporting on job and economic statistics?
Good question. Good question. I'm going to guess he says he doesn't know anything about it.
I don't know what the situation was with the Department of Labor person. Neither do you. I don't know.
We do know because Trump can't shut up on Truth Social. He didn't like the numbers, so he found a scapegoat. It's that simple. And one of my favorite lines from the night is talking about SNAP benefits. Ask yourself, what would be a good answer when someone says, what are we going to do about cutting SNAP benefits? What would you say is a good answer? Because it wasn't this.
Why did you cut SNAP and healthcare research?
Wait for it. Wait for it. Take it away, Mike.
We do not have unlimited money in the United States.
Oh, there it is. We don't have enough money to pay and make sure that kids have food. His name is Mike Flood. He represents CD1 in Nebraska. And if we can't put somebody in that seat that can do better than this guy, Nebraska is doomed. Nebraska is doomed. We might have a little blue dot, but we need a blue state. And if we can't get somebody in that seat to beat him just on facts and truth alone, then we're doomed. Go back and watch that town hall. August 4th, 2025, Mike Flood, Town Hall, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Overnight, Congressman Mike Flood facing a barrage of pushback as he tries to sell his constituents on President Trump's agenda. The Nebraska Republican getting an earful for his support of Trump's massive tax and spending bill.
There's been a lot of misinformation out there about the bill.
Flood attempting to walk the audience through the health care provisions in the bill, but the crowd interrupting and jeering him.
I can tell you, we're going to see an influx of money into Nebraska hospitals.
One constituent calling for calm.
I implore you to be quiet so that we can hear his responses. Remember, Mike's coming up for a re-election, and we'd really like to know what his responses are.
The bill, the cornerstone of Trump's agenda, is projected to cause more than 10 million Americans to lose their health care coverage over the next decade due to its cuts to Medicaid.
If you choose not to work, you do not get free health care. You do not get free health care.
A new analysis by the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office now estimates the legislation will add more than $4 trillion to the national debt over the next decade, up from the previous estimate of $3.4 trillion. The increase due in part to the roughly $4 trillion in tax cuts, mostly for the wealthiest Americans, included in the final bill. But it wasn't just the legislation sparking outrage. One man pointing to the January 6th attack on the Capitol and Trump's pardons of more than 1,500 people involved.
You said in Seward that you were not a fascist. Your complicity says otherwise. Have you ever spoken out against this administration?
Sir, I want to be very clear with you. Give me a chance to answer his question, I'd be happy to. Fascists don't hold town halls with open question and answer series.
Now, the congressman was pressed on everything from the controversy over Jeffrey Epstein to the president's firing of the top official in charge of the jobs report and cuts to the education department. Now, after a contentious 90 minutes, that town hall ending with chants of vote him out. George.
I want to ask, why does it seem like when you make your voting decisions, they're based on capital rather than the working class? Billionaires and corporations got their tax issues enshrined into law forever, but the working class gets a no tax on tips or overtime that only applies to some of us, and now we wind up in a situation where we are.
With all due respect, sir, the Republican Party, now more than ever, represents the heart and soul of the working class. These are the other important parts of the One Big Beautiful Bill. Next slide, please.
Family, that heated town hall session can just tell you that Americans are tired with the government of the day. The cuts in Medicaid, would mean that 10 million Americans will lose healthcare coverage. And that is such a large number. Imagine 10 million people losing healthcare coverage. Imagine that 10 million people, after losing the Medicare and Medicaid, will not have health covers. Family, there's a very, very huge concern. And that's why we are seeing people very, very mad with Mike Flood in this specific town hall. We see them complain a lot. We see them trying, to defend themselves, trying to fight for what is rightfully theirs. And in this video, the Congressman, Mike Flood, was loudly booed and heckled by constituents during a heated town hall in Nebraska on August 4, 2025, in his own district. In a district that he was voted in. People are tired. People are regretting. These are far from moment. It took them time for them to realize this. And people are so mad. What happened on this town hall is that Flood was promoting and defending President Trump's recently passed legislation nicknamed the Big Beautiful Bill, which included tax cuts for wealthy, increased immigration enforcement funding, and sharp cuts on Medicaid, food assistance, and other social support programs. The funny thing is that this Big Beautiful Bill included tax cuts for the wealthy, people who should actually be taxed more. There are people who got now the tax cuts. And what made people even mad is that Trump pumped a lot of money now to the immigration. A lady stood up and asked Mike Flood. She said, and I quote, that 400 million FEMA dollars to open Alligator Alcatraz, 600 million to open more concrete camps, and ICE alone is using $8.4 million a day to detain people illegally. Look at all these monies being used in illegal detention. All this money is being used in immigration while they're cutting out on important sectors like the Medicaid and food assistance. That just shows you why people are so mad in this town hall. Americans are trying to express themselves. They are saying enough is enough. Why are the rich getting even more richer? Why are they not getting these tax cuts? Why is the government targeting food assistance? Why is the government targeting Medicaid? Things, that are so important and would help, the general public. Roughly 700 to 800 people packed the University of Nebraska, a venue known to lean more liberal within its district, and reacted with extended boos, chants of vote him out, tax the rich, lie, and even free Palestine. And at some point, people did not allow Mike Flood to even speak, and the town hall had to just stop, forcefully, because people are tired. They did not want to listen to yet another lie. This just shows you where the heart of Americans are at. Americans are tired. These are very big, powerful moments. People are tired. People have experienced all this negative stuff. People are tired of the government's negative policies that are affecting common people. Flood answered questions across hot button issues, including Project 2025 and the Epstein files, ICE raids, immigration, and his support for Trump tariffs, but was often drawn by criticism and interruptions. People did not give him even time to talk. People were tired. They did not give him time, for him to tell yet another lie. The backlash shows a strong local reaction to the GOP-led legislative agenda, even in a safe Republican district like Flood's, which includes university-educated and more progressive voters in Lancaster County. In Lincoln, dozens staged coordinated walk-ins encouraged by local Democrats through officials warned this was part of a broader social dissatisfaction with the bill rather than stage-managed protests. Despite the confrontation, Flood reiterated his willingness to hold more town halls, framing the engagement as part of a democratic governance. For having that town hall, I respect him, but for the policies that they are pushing, that would mean that people would get cuts in Medicaid, that people will be taxed even more and more, and that the government of the United States will have an additional trillion in its national debt. That I can never support, because now that would mean that the spending bill, would add over 4 trillion to the national debt from the previous 3 trillion, an additional 1 trillion. Family, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about the video? What do you think about the town hall? Do you think that Nebraskans did well, booing and just trying to stop their representative? Was that a right move? Let me know in the comment section down below. Kindly like the video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users, and I'll be very, very grateful. Lastly, kindly do consider subscribing to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and we'll never do this without your support. Thank you guys, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.